Phil Ivey is looking down at ace-3 offsuit. Pre-flop begins with a heavyweight battle between two of the most iconic figures in poker history. Ivey weaponizes his nearly mythical table presence to dictate the pace and put his opponents on the defensive. Daniel Negreanu, sitting with king-2 of spades, decides to defend. The flop falls, a low and disconnected texture that creates a unique strategic stalemate. After Negreanu checks his marginal pair to the aggressor, Ivey fires a standard continuation bet of 100,000. He is telling a story of a premium overpair or an ace-high that is currently best. The turn brings the 3, and it is the absolute miracle card for Phil Ivey. Ivey does not slow play. He realizes that Negreanu has shown interest in the pot and decides to go for value, firing a second barrel of 250,000. This is a massive bet that asks Negreanu a very expensive question. Negreanu, however, remains stubbornly disciplined. The river is the 8, a card that seals the deal for Ivey with a full house.
He's looking at me funny.
Bring it on down to Valueville.
All in.
All in.
All in.
Phil shoved.
That card didn't help me. Maybe it did. Are you trying to bluff me?
No.
Whatever. Go ahead.
Daniel folds.
Had the other pair.
Deuces.
Good kicker, though. You bluff that one?
Of course not.
Maybe that card saved me money.
Yes, it did.
Yeah? You had an 8? Wow.
Nope.
You got a 3.
Yep.
Lucky me.
Negreanu is looking down on ace-4 suited. Phil Ivey opens to 70K with 9-6 offsuit, tempo over texture. He is testing Negreanu's willingness to surrender small pots at a final table where ladder pressure is real. Negreanu flats. He could 3-bet some of these wheel aces, but calling keeps Ivey's range bloated, preserves position, and, crucially, lets Negreanu play the hand, not just the cards. Check from Negreanu invites the expected feeler. Ivey obliges for 60K, a sizing that says, "I'm betting range," rather than "I'm betting hand." Negreanu snaps the narrative back with a raise to 160K. That raise does two jobs at once. It tests the auto c-bet and plants the seed that he can absolutely have a queen from the pre-flop flatting range. More importantly, it announces, "You don't get to cruise through this pot." Ivey just calls. An elegant counter. He declines to re-raise into the story. Negreanu is telling, keeps his own range elastic, and sends a silent message, "I'm not folding, keep talking." The card perks up Ivey's equity and brings the heart door. Excellent leverage material. Negreanu checks after representing big strength on the flop. That slowdown is intentional. If you're holding a queen, you often trap here, and if you're light, you want Ivey to bet himself into a corner. Ivey fires 225K. This is a pressure bet more than a value bet. He's attacking the pause and using the new equity the turn gave him to justify heat. Negreanu's call is commitment to the role he chose on the flop. Strong hands call to spring the river. Weak hands with backbone call to keep the lie consistent. Either way, the call keeps Ivey in the cage. Backdoor hearts arrive. Negreanu checks once more, inviting the last chapter in the conversation. With the 9 of hearts in his hand, he blocks some flushes, which makes this river stab a high-quality bluff candidate, and the line he's chosen credibly represents a queen that never blinked or a hard hand that improved. You are in Negreanu's seat. All game long, both players showed bluffs. What is your move, call or fold, and why in one sentence? Best clear answer gets pinned.
Look, I don't have that good a hand, but I don't know. I felt like he was going to try to make a goofy move, so I might pay him. Trying to say you have a queen, sir? When do you have, how do you, you're going to learn my trick, how to flop trips?
I lost my screen.
I don't know. Okay, I played good, kinda, except you got there.
Phil Ivey is looking down at 10-9 offsuit, but he's up against Doug Polk, who's raised to 55,000 with ace-4 offsuit. Ivey makes the call, and even though this is not the best hand to call out of position with, against an aggressive opponent like Polk, Ivey knows there's value in keeping his range wide. It makes him tougher to read and sets up opportunities to pick off bluffs later. Ivey flops top pair on a relatively dry board, but against Polk's wide raising range, it's not a hand he's looking to blow the pot up with right away. Top pair with a medium kicker plays best as a pot control hand, letting Polk keep betting with his bluffs and weaker holdings. By not overplaying it, Ivey keeps his range balanced and gives himself room to navigate later streets.
Next behind Ivey. The turn, a 2 of hearts. Action on Phil.
Betting 75.
75,000, just a little over half of the pot.
This bet by Ivey serves two purposes. It protects his top pair from giving a free card to potential overcards or backdoor draws, and it also reclaims the betting lead to control the pace of the hand. Against someone like Polk, it's also a subtle way to induce, giving him room to turn a marginal hand or complete air into a bluff.
Call.
Makes the call, in position.
Against a player like Ivey, Polk knows this turn bet could easily be a stab with missed overcards or complete air after the flop check through. By calling, Polk keeps Ivey's bluffs in play, sets himself up to potentially take the pot away on the river, and makes sure he's not getting run over in position.
The river is a 6 of clubs, so Ivey's pair of 10s are best. Action is on Phil.
Can't really bet too much. Let's bet the pot.
Betting 200.
You're right, Joe.
580,000.
Raise to 580.
Wow, this is a surprise. He's made a raise here.
Do you think this was a good time to bluff for Doug Polk? Let me know down in the comments.
There it is. He makes the call, so he will win a big pot. He almost looked a bit surprised there.
Phil Ivey is looking down on 8-6 offsuit. Vanessa makes it 25K with pocket sevens bread and butter early value that plays beautifully on low textures and keeps worse pairs and broadways defending. Artem overcalls, sweetening the price. Phil Ivey flats purposefully. 8-6 thrives deep and multi-way, makes nutted straights on boards early raisers hate, and carries just enough backdoor potential to pressure later streets. The flop falls low and connected. Artem checks and Phil fires 50K when checked to. Into two players and on a dynamic board, that stab credibly represents sets, two pair, and strong draws, while letting him realize his equity with the open-ender plus the 6 of clubs as a valuable blocker. Vanessa just calls with top set. Raising with narrow ranges to strong draws and made flushes later, calling keeps Phil's bluffs and semi-bluffs alive, invites Artem to continue, and disguises the real strength of her hand on a texture that can shift quickly. The turn is the 10 of clubs, completing the front door. Artem checks again and Phil barrels 150K. That card is a green light for continued pressure. If he's bluffing, the club gives him story and leverage. If he's value, he wants to tack sets and one pair hands immediately. The 6 of clubs in his hand trims the strongest flush combos Vanessa can have. Vanessa's call is disciplined. She retains all her full house redraws, avoids isolating herself versus made flushes, and keeps Phil's entire range pointed at a river decision. The river is the 4 of hearts. No new club appears, but one of Phil's key rivers does. The straight gets there.
Phil Ivey, everybody. Best in the world. Cracks 7s with 8-6, the classic.
While we wait for Phil Ivey to make his decision, please click the like button. It helps out a lot, thank you. He chooses 400K, a polarizing bomb that plays perfectly against the range Vanessa has represented by calling twice, overpairs without a club, 7s that didn't raise, and some cautious club hands. With the 6 of clubs blocker reducing nut flush combos and a coherent story from flop to river, this sizing forces exactly the kind of uncomfortable, high-stakes decision he's been building toward all hand.
She folds. She made that look so easy.
Not the turn I wanted to see.
3-7?
Daniel Negreanu is looking down at 7-5 offsuit, but he's up against the greatest of all time, Phil Ivey, whose cards we don't see yet. Daniel limps from the button, a play you almost never see at these high levels, because you open yourself up to a stealing raise that you can't really call, but his opponents already know that, so I'm guessing they think he's trying to trap them with a monster hand like pocket aces.
Maria has checked her option. We're going 3-way to the flop.
The flop gives Negreanu an open-ended straight draw, but with Phil limping and Maria Ho checking pre-flop, there's a lot of hands in their ranges like suited hearts, small sets, and two-pair combos that connect here. If either of them decides to push, Daniel's draw could get pretty expensive. This bet by Phil doesn't give away much. He's the kind of player who'll fire here whether he's got top pair, a monster draw, or complete air. A flop bet like this is more about taking control rather than showing actual strength. Negreanu was feeling somewhat okay in position here, so he decides to see what move Ivey will make on the turn.
Daniel does call. The turn card is a 7. Phil checks.
I think we should probably just check.
Daniel does bet. And what's Phil thinking?
He's thinking, what's this guy got? What's this guy over here got? What does he got me beat?
Oh,
Phil's check raised.
A line like this usually represents real strength, but against someone like Ivey, it can just as easily be a well-timed bluff meant to put Daniel in the blender.
Seconds left to make a decision. He elects to call.
Like there was ever any doubt what Daniel was gonna do.
The river card is the 7 of hearts. Trips for Daniel, but it does put a potential flush out there.
Ivey limped pre-flop, fired a bet on a heart-heavy flop, then check-raised the turn. That line is consistent with a flush draw or a pocket pair of 4s or 6s, which now gives him a full house.
And there's a bet from Phil.
Full house? You got queen 7? I don't think I can fold it.
Daniel calls.
Ace queen.
Phil claims to have ace queen, but he doesn't.
Phil Ivey is looking down at ace-8 suited.
How much you start with?
Right on $1 million, I think.
Pre-flop begins with Faraz Jaka, a player known for his creative and wide-opening ranges, looking to apply pressure from the cutoff.
Well, he doesn't have a hand.
However, sitting in the big blind is the legendary Phil Ivey, a man whose defensive range is as sophisticated as it is wide.
Does that happen to you a lot?
Instead of 3-betting to define the hand early, Ivey chooses to just flat call. The flop falls, a very dry and paired texture that acts as a strategic reset for both players. Ivey checks, sticking to his defensive plan. Jaka, sensing that Ivey is unlikely to fold any pair or even an ace on this board, decides to check back. This is a disciplined move from Faraz. He realizes that a continuation bet here might simply be lighting money on fire against a player who loves to check raise low boards. The river is another 9, creating a double-paired board. This is a fascinating runout because the board has effectively counterfeited almost any small pair that either player could have held. Hand strength is now determined almost entirely by kickers. Phil Ivey, holding an ace, realizes that his hand is almost certainly the winner in a checked-around pot. However, Ivey doesn't just want to win the pot, he wants to extract value. He fires a bet of 60,000 into the middle. This river bet is a masterclass in polarized sizing. By betting 60,000 into a relatively small pot, Ivey makes his hand look like a pure bluff, a player trying to steal a pot after showing zero interest for 3 streets.
Queen high.
Liar.
Phil Ivey is looking down on 5 deuce suited. Pre-flop, this is a classic clash of ranges rather than hands. Sands opens from early position with ace-5 of hearts, a hand that plays beautifully deep. It cracks big aces, flops disguised 2-pair, and has wheel potential. Ivey defends the big blind with 5-2 of clubs, which looks like garbage, but actually has some sneaky properties here. Getting a good price, he is happy to come along wide and try to make something strange on a board that is supposed to smash the razor. The flop comes dreamland for Sands and a very awkward heaven for Ivey. Sands has top and bottom pair on a semi-wet texture, the exact sort of board his early position range is supposed to own. Ivey, meanwhile, connects harder than he deserves, middle pair plus a wheel draw. When Ivey checks and Sands fires 64,000, it is a completely standard value bet. He wants calls from ace-x, pocket pairs, and all the diamond draws. Ivey's call is where the hand starts to get interesting. He is never loving life against an EPC bet on this board, but he has real equity, decent implied odds if a 4 peels, and a range that is supposed to defend some middling pairs and draws. The turn brings the 6 of clubs, which quietly changes a lot. The obvious draws all brick, but Ivey now picks up extra equity and board leverage. His 5-2 becomes a pair plus open-ender on a runout that is getting very hard for Sands to read cleanly in real time. When Ivey checks again and Sands bets 177,000, Sands is still telling a simple story. I had a big hand on the flop, and I still do. He wants to keep extracting from worse aces, stubborn 5s, and the various draws that refuse to fold. From Ivey's seat, though, this second barrel is the signal that it is now or never. If he just calls again, he is going to face a brutal river decision on a pot that is already bloated. Instead, he turns his hand into a pressure tool and rips in a massive check raise to 527,000. That raise is doing 2 things at once. First, it leverages Ivey's range advantage on this texture. From Sands' perspective, the big blind can absolutely have sets, weird 2 pairs like 6-5 or even 4-2 for the pure nuts. Second, it maximizes the value of Ivey's equity when called. He is not bluffing with air. If Sands stands his ground, Ivey still has a real shot to improve.
All in. Guess you could have that, maybe. And I'm not in bad. I'm not in that bad shape. If you know where you have that. This is so. This one's funny. This one is funny.
Phil Ivey's been spending too much time with Daniel Negreanu.
Okay. All right. Okay, I'll call.
Ivey's gonna go for it.
Gulp.
Fives and deuces no good. He needs a club or a 4 on the river.
So stupid I am.
Now he's been spending too much time with Yoda. Ivey does have 12 outs, which means he's going to hit a little more than 1 out of every 4 times.
It's a 6 on the river. We lose Phil Ivey.
Yeah, Phil. Thanks.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down at pocket sevens. Ivey, always looking to apply pressure and dictate the pace, opens the action to 125,000 holding 9-8 offsuit. It is a highly speculative, loose open, relying entirely on post-flop skill. Instead of just calling to set mine, Negreanu decides to turn up the heat, executing a massive 3-bet. He wants to define Ivey's range immediately and push out the marginal holdings. However, Ivey is not easily intimidated. The flop falls a texture that guarantees a massive collision. Acting first, Negreanu faces a critical strategic decision. He could lead out to build the pot, but instead, he opts for a deceptive check. He is setting a trap, hoping Ivey will automatically fire a continuation bet with air or a weak king. Ivey, however, demonstrates his elite table awareness. He exercises perfect pot control and checks right back. The turn brings the 5, a card that drastically shifts the psychological landscape of the hand. While it changes nothing about Negreanu's commanding set, it improves Ivey's straight draw, needing a 6 to go along with his middle pair.
I'm all in.
Phil shoves.
I call.
And Daniel calls.
Set.
Set's good.
This could be it.
Oh, I win. Oh, no, you need a 6. Never mind.
Yeah.
I didn't see that part. But I'm in good shape right now. I'm ahead.
Best shape of his life.
You never know.
Yeah.
Phil needs a 6.
Don't do it to us. We got some drinking to do.
4 cards Ivey can hit.
Something tells me Team Ivey's not exactly worried where their next meal's coming from.
It's okay. He'll be fine. Maybe he's in good hands.
Doesn't look like their first rodeo.
You don't want to win like that anyway, catching a 6. You won't. Huh? You don't care, right? Just however it happens. That would be dirty. He won't. He doesn't want to win that way. He'd throw it back. If a 6 comes, he'd just throw it back.
I sure would.
He'd be like, you know what? No, I don't want it. I can't win like that. Bad for my reputation.
The river card is a 10. Daniel takes it down.
1-0. Whoa!
Hey, Phil, the bad news is you got to sweep that up.
Look at this.
Read the fine print, brother.
Yay!
Phil Ivey opens the action to $30,000 with ace-queen offsuit. It's one of those hands that plays beautifully as a raise, strong enough to push folds, but not so premium that he wants to trap. With Ivey's reputation, this sizing also tells the table he could have anything from suited connectors to monsters, which keeps opponents guessing. Antonio calls with 10-9 suited, a hand designed to punish big aces if it connects in sneaky ways. Suited connectors like this can win disguised pots, especially deep stacked, and Antonio knows he's the type of player who can pressure later streets if he senses weakness. It's bone dry, no clear draws, no top pairs, and Ivey has all the range advantage after raising preflop. Maria checks as expected, and Ivey seizes the lead with a $60,000 continuation bet. He wants to fold out junk and keep worse broadways honest. Antonio doesn't just call, he raises to $150,000. This is a statement. He knows the board favors Ivey's high cards, but it doesn't actually connect with them. A raise here puts maximum pressure on one-pair hands and tests whether Ivey is really holding aces, kings, or a hand that can keep going. Maria steps aside quickly, leaving Ivey to make the decision. That flat says everything. He isn't buying Antonio's story, and he wants to keep him firing. The turn brings the 5 of diamonds. It's a card that shifts the landscape slightly, giving straight possibilities with a 4 and bringing in the backdoor diamond draw. Ivey checks, staying consistent with a range that could easily include strong aces or even slow play pairs. Antonio bets 152,000, a continuation of his aggression that looks perfectly credible. It tells the story of a big pocket pair protecting itself, or even a set that doesn't want to give free cards.
You think Phil Ivey became the kind of guy who forgets his best friends being inducted into the Poker Hall of Fame by folding turns? Come on.
But Ivey doesn't flinch. His call here isn't just about the strength of ace-queen high, it's about forcing Antonio to keep proving his hand. With the pot ballooning, Ivey knows every future decision will be magnified, and this measured call keeps his range strong and his options open. The river falls the jack of clubs, and now things get brutal. The card looks innocent, but it secretly upgrades Antonio's 10-9 for Ivey. The board still looks like a miss for a lot of Antonio's bluffs, and this is where he flips the dynamic.
I just realized if he bets here and it's a bluff, he could go to the cage.
That's a huge bet. That's 60% of his chips. And there's the bluff card!
Oh man, Phil Ivey could be going into the cage.
I want to get to know you better. Let me know who will you choose between Phil Ivey and Antonio Esfandiari as your favorite player, and who should we compare to next? Let me know in the comments.
All in.
No! He shoves!
Phil's not going into the cage. This is literally the most disappointed I've ever been.
Antonio's just missed out on the chance to put Phil Ivey behind bars and win $25,000!
Phil Ivey kicks things off with Jack-10 offsuit.
Take a hand off, Phil. Nope.
He is last to act and completes, choosing position and pot control over isolation. We are about to see a flop with Ivey uncapped and in position, exactly where he is most dangerous. Artem checks the flop. That is standard into the pre-flop caller on a middling, draw-heavy texture. It keeps his range uncapped and lets Ivey define the pot. Ivey bets $40,000. With top pair and a decent kicker, he wants to tax the spade draws and gut shots like 7-8, 7-9, 8-9, and deny ace-x and queen-x a free card.
Phil is the best player. So if I play Phil, not look, it's not good. I think if I have a free card, Phil have 2 cards. It's same game.
The call also keeps Ivey's c-bet frequency high and disguises Artem's range, which can still include sets, 2-pair, and strong draws. Artem checks. This is a strong check with newly improved equity. His hand picks up a pair plus an open-ended straight draw, and checking preserves the option to continue versus multiple bet sizes. Ivey bets $100,000. The card connects hard with the flop draw matrix, so this is a pressure value bet. He targets spades, 1-pair 6s and 5s, and sticky straight draws. He also denies equity from overcards that could river him. Artem calls. Now pair plus open-ender is far too strong to fold, and raising would polarize him into bluffs or monsters while letting Ivey 3-bet shove. By calling, he realizes the river and keeps Ivey's range wide. Artem leads $119,000. The straight completes for him, and this sizing is clever. Into a large pot, it looks blockish, inviting a hero call from exactly the type of hand Ivey has, while still extracting when Ivey shows up with 2-pair or a stubborn ace-x that's slow played.
Now Phil's in the same spot he put Vanessa in on the first hand. He's getting value bet in a spot where bluffing is more expected than a tip in an American bar.
Phil calls.